Hello. We are broadcasting live for the first time from the All Geek to Me channel because some exciting stuff happened in the world of entertainment today. The Golden Globe nominations were announced for this year's award show. There were a number of expected nominations, especially given that the SAG nominations came out last night, yesterday, the day before today. This is going to be another one of those days. And we wanted to talk about some of our reactions to this year's nominations, especially when it came to the snubs in the television category. But let's start with the movies. Birdman actually led the nominations, which was not terribly surprising. It was probably one of the most talked about movies, one of the most surprising movies from this year. They got 7 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Supporting Actor, a lot of Supporting Actress, a lot of nominations. Kate, you actually saw the movie. I have
I
not.
did.
So what do you think of that?
I'm not surprised that they got nominated. I think it. I've said it to pretty much everyone. Birdman is for a person that is a film person. I don't think your average Joe is going to go in and appreciate what happens within this film. It's very technical. Cinematographers and fans of cinematography will geek out over it. But I said, I think I wrote on Twitter that the story and characters are just as compelling as the cinematography and the score for this film.
And did it? It also got nominated for some of those technical awards as well. I
Yeah.
think. I
I
just
know it got nominated for score and for script, but I don't know if they do
they don't
cinematography
they don't do
awards.
cinematography in at the Golden Globes. It'll probably get a cinematography nomination at the Oscars this year. I'm sure it'll add to its nominations. It'll probably be up in the double digits for the Oscars because there are so many other categories, a lot of technical categories it could get nominated for. There were one definitely missing film from this year's Best Picture drama that no one's really talked about it missing, but was Interstellar.
Oh, well, I guess.
And that's fine with me because as I wrote in my review of the movie, it was very meh for me. Storytelling wise, acting wise, I mean, it was all kind of okay. Nothing hugely stand outish about it, except maybe for those technical things. And it did get nominated for score at the Golden Globe. So and that was incredible. The score is great in that movie. The cinematography is great in the movie. Everything else is kind of meh. So I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the way of Gravity did a couple of years ago when it won, or last year when it won all of the technical awards, but none of the actual acting or storytelling awards.
Yeah, I'm sure Interstellar will get plenty of Oscar nominations, but I'm not too surprised, and I wasn't shocked when I didn't see it listed for the
Yeah,
Globe.
I wasn't shocked either. I was actually pretty happy with this year's Best Picture drama nominees. We also had Selma, which hasn't come out yet, which is about Martin Luther King and the civil rights marches in Selma. It's a very small scale story of Dr. King during a time period we all know about in broad strokes, but I don't think a lot of people understand in the smaller, like intimate details. It's also coming out at a really good time for that sort of movie. The other nominees, every Best Picture drama nominee except for one was actually a nonfiction or biopic story, which I thought was interesting. You had Theory of Everything and The Imitation Game, Selma, and oh, my brain is blanking on who the other one was. But there were a lot of those, and I don't know what that says necessarily about what we're seeing motion picture wise. Whether we are just telling a lot more of those stories. Foxcatcher was the other one.
Not sure, yeah, just
Foxcatcher is escaping me because it hasn't come out yet. Again, we've been
yeah.
hearing a lot of stuff, but it hasn't really come out yet. And then Boyhood was the only one of those that was a narrative story.
Wasn't Birdman?
Birdman was in comedy.
Oh, duh.
Birdman was nominated for Best Picture, Comedy or Musical, and that's the big thing that separates the Golden Globes from the Oscars, is that they have both categories.
Yeah.
So while you're going to see a lot of overlap in the Best Picture nominees for the Golden Globes and the Oscars, in this case, I think of these films, right now in my head anyway, the front runner for comedy is Birdman, hands down, because the rest of the comedy selections are iffy,
Hmm.
at best. You have, Into the Woods, which is a great musical, but it's none of those are really going to hold much of a candle to the interestingness that was Birdman.
Hmm.
And then in drama, I'm thinking probably Boyhood, if not for just the fact that it's a movie told over 12 years.
Like I want Boyhood to win something. Do I don't know. Out of I think drama this year, and it hasn't been for the past couple of years. Comedy's really been driving these nominations. Drama's big this year within overall performances and with overall films. So I think it's going to be hard. I think, you know, Boyhood deserves to win something, but I don't know out of all the other ones if it will win the best.
Yeah, I think Linkletter definitely has probably a hand up on directors.
Hmm.
Possibly just for the fact that he took 12 years to do this. It's a feat of directing. I don't think anybody is denying that fact. And I don't necessarily disagree with you. I don't know of the other nominees which one was the strongest. This is kind of a weird year, I think, in a lot of these categories where they all feel almost on equal footing.
Hmm.
I haven't seen Foxcatcher yet because it hasn't been released. Theory of Everything was a very good movie, but I don't feel like it's something that appeals to everyone.
Yeah.
Imitation Game, I have not seen yet, but from the reviews that I've been reading, is a great performance piece for Benedict Cumberbatch, but otherwise has been falling flat critically. Foxcatcher, I think, is weirding some people out because of Steve Carell, but it's one of those like powerhouse performances. And you're right, there are a lot of really great performances in these films, which actually takes us to the um, best actor in a drama. So we have Steve Carell for Foxcatcher, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Imitation Game, Jake Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler. I'm not going to pretend to know how to pronounce David's last name for Selma, and Eddie Redmayne for Theory of Everything. And all of those, the ones that I've seen, they've all been amazing performances. Eddie Redmayne was incredible as Stephen Hawking. It's a physical transformation as much as anything else. Um, and everything I'm hearing about Selma and about Foxcatcher and The Imitation Game, all of those are powerhouse performances. I don't know who would be the front runner. Again, there's a lot of these where I'm like, I don't know who the front runner is.
Yeah. I
I don't
don't.
know if you have any thoughts. I mean, Eddie Redmayne jumps out for me just because so many people have been talking about the physical transformation.
I as much as I don't want just out of personal reasons, I think Benedict Cumberbatch, I'm getting a little oversaturated with him. So I really just don't care for him to win, but the likelihood, because I don't want him to win, he probably will win. Um, I'm hearing good things about Steve Carell. I can't take him seriously in Fox Chaser or Fox Catcher or whatever the hell it's called. Um, I think the prosthetic nose, and I'm just so when you've played a character like what he played on The Office for so long, it's kind of hard. And I understand that he wants to break the mold, but it's very difficult for me to see him in that film.
Yeah.
So I
Um,
don't.
Having not seen Selma yet and not really hearing a ton personally about his performance, I'm going to say right now my ideas for frontrunner are going to be Eddie Redmayne for Theory of Everything and Jake Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler because I think Gyllenhaal just weirded people out like crazy in that movie. And
He plays a really great weirdo. So
does play some really good weirdos. And he went through a physical transformation, more of losing weight to play the
mhm,
character, which I'm sure Tina Fey and Amy Poehler will poke fun at again, like they did last year with Matthew McConaughey.
mhm.
Um, and then we have another race, the Best Actress for Drama race. That's again really it's a difficult field for different reasons. Whereas all of the Best Actor category was seriously powerhouse performances in great movies that no one is surprised got nominated. The Best Actress category has been one of those like we don't know how to fill it out.
Yeah. This
There's been
like
some
this has been a compared to previous years, I feel like this has been a weak. year for female performances within dramas.
And I don't know if that's, I feel actually like that's almost a lack of there being good, juicy female roles
Hmm.
for women to bite into. None of the best drama nominees were female stars. They all starred men. Um, there are some good supporting actress nominations. I was glad to see Felicity Jones
Yeah.
not the theory of everything. She really is, I think, the heart of that movie, and more so even than Eddie Redmayne's character. Like it's difficult to watch him go through the physical transformations, but for her, there's a lot of subtlety in her performance, and I
Hmm.
was glad to see her fill that out. I don't know that I don't think she's gonna win. She was one of like the she could maybe fill this hole. Another one was a possible could fill this hole was Shailene Woodley for The Fault in Our Stars. I thought portions of her performance in that movie were good enough to nab a nomination. I didn't think the overall performance was as strong as Felicity Jones' performance in Theory of Everything.
I think that Shailene Woodley should have got a nomination. Do I think she would have won? No, but I think she should have been nominated. I think her performance in Fault in Our Stars is superior to her performance in Descendants, and she got nominated for that film. So that's how I'm just comparing it to. I think, and it was a female-driven drama that was shot very nicely for a YA film.
Yeah,
So, I think they deserved a little bit more credit than they were given.
and we do still have the Oscar categories again. I she's gonna be one of those like two or three people that sort of fill that one remaining hole.
Mhm.
I think for the most part for the Oscars we're gonna see very similar nominations with Jennifer Aniston for Cake, Felicity Jones for Theory of Everything, Julianne Moore for Still Alice, and Rosamund Pike for Gone Girl, Reese Witherspoon for Wild. Those um, everyone but Felicity Jones I think is definitely almost a shoe-in for an Oscar nomination. They're all women taking sort of risky character roles. Reese Witherspoon's Wild, is about Cheryl Strayed and a not good time period. Witherspoon herself has said like this is the one of the few movies that it has a woman who ends the story with no money, no man, no nothing, and yet it still purports to be a happy ending.
Mhm.
She's getting rave reviews for it. Julianne Moore is getting amazing reviews for Still Alice, which is about a woman who's suffering from Alzheimer's. Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl creeped the crap out of me, and actually made me like that book more. Just with her performance, she was perfect for that role. I don't think Gone Girl is an Oscar or necessarily Golden Globe caliber film. So in my head, front runners for this might be Jennifer Aniston, Julianne Moore, or Reese Witherspoon. I'm leaning toward Julianne Moore.
That's who I'm leaning towards as well.
I think a lot of people are leaning toward Julianne Moore. She might be the only one of those that was like, this is a big performance. The other ones,
Yeah, and, yeah. I think she deserves it. I think Julianne Moore deserves a win.
I think she deserves a win too. She's a great actress.
She's one of my favorite, and just from the trailers I've seen from Still Alice, it looks very powerful. So,
Um, and then we had the musical comedy ones were actually the best actress ones were weird for musical or comedy because if you thought the drama nominations were thin, musical or comedy were even thinner. I mean, you got Amy Adams and Big Eyes, who right now for me might be the front runner. Emily Blunt for Into the Woods, Helen Mirren for 100-Foot Journey, Julianne Moore again for Map to the Stars, and then Kavenzane Wallace for Annie, which I don't. Okay, fine. I haven't seen Annie yet, but I haven't been hearing good things from what I have
what
heard.
what I think
That's a
when
fact.
I saw the nominations and I saw that Julianne Moore was nominated for Star the what is it Star Maps to the Stars, that's when I was like, they really were stretching for people here
Yeah.
because I've only seen the trailer for the film, and she plays a pretty crazy chick, but I think all you really need to do is see the trailer.
Yeah, and I think so. I think one of our biggest issues this year with the nominations is it's so thin for the women, and that comes from a lot of not great female roles. And two of the one of the things I noted on Twitter this morning was that two of the nominations for best female actress, best actress in a drama came from movies that Reese Witherspoon produced out of her new company, where she's specifically choosing roles that are strong female roles. It's Gone Girl and Wild, which she starred in, and they're
Mhm.
both based on books that she optioned and championed for to make the movies, written by women. You had, Gone Girl, which is written by Gillian Flynn, and also the screenplay by Gillian Flynn. And I think she got nominated for the screenplay as well. And then Cheryl Strayed, which is a memoir.
Mhm.
It's a little depressing, and it was opposite depressing when you got to TV nominations, where it felt like there were almost too many people
Yeah.
to
I just
nominate.
want to say that for before we wrap up film, I'm a little bit heartbroken that I think Whiplash should have been nominated for. You could have thrown that into musical comedy because there's music in it if you really wanted to stretch it. And I'm a little disappointed that Miles Teller did not get nominated. If you're starting to look at the end of the year lists of best films of 2014, that is topping a lot of lists. So the fact that they only got J.K. Simmons for supporting actor is a little shocking to me.
And J.K. Simmons is the front runner for his category for
Yeah.
supporting actor. So hopefully that will blunt some of the pain you're
Like they
feeling.
didn't even get anything for score. Like it's a movie about music, and they didn't even get something for like score or original song or anything. So I'm a little bitter about that.
Well, you're about to get a little more bitter because we're going to jump into TV here, and I think the biggest snubs came from the Best Actress category, specifically TV series, comedy or musical.
Mhm.
You had, your basics. You had Edie Falco for Nurse Jackie, Julie Louis-Dreyfus for Veep, Taylor Schilling for Orange is the New Black, and then you had some surprises. Well, at least one big surprise for me is Gina Rodriguez for Jane the Virgin, and Jane the Virgin also got nominated for Best Series, Comedy or Musical, and I'm actually totally psyched about that because the series is a CW show. It's the first time the CW has ever been nominated. They're a baby network still, even though they've been around for a few years now. Um,
Mhm.
but I like that they got nominated. They've been doing a really good job trying to make quality television for a teenage audience,
Yeah, which is what the network's all about.
which is what the network's all about. And they've been doing a very good job. I mean, they're pushing, Arrow and Flash, which have both been very good shows. I've heard nothing but good things about Jane the Virgin, and to hear it like get an actual critical recognition from the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. And this is a show that's not just very it feels like it may not catch with an international audience. It's a comedy. It's about a girl. There's a female main character. She's a Latina main character, which we don't have almost anything on TV except, as Kate pointed out before the show, Christella,
Mhm.
um, on ABC, I think.
Yeah.
And it's really good for her. It's really good for like diversity on television that we can have, these kinds of roles that are really good for, any actress. It doesn't matter, who they are or what, and that they can actually get recognized in a major forum, um,
Mhm.
which I thought was cool. And I really have to go watch Jane the Virgin now, I guess. And I also like that it talks about some subject matter that we don't talk about on TV a lot, which is the idea of choosing to be a virgin at 23, um, which is something that usually we hear, everything on TV is about sex with kids and it's horrible and we're corrupting our youth. And I'm like, well, here's something a little more wholesome. It's a little weird, but,
Yeah.
you know,
I
that's,
think what the Golden Globes does and what Hollywood Foreign Press does, and I applaud them for, especially with television, is that they tend to look for newer shows and unknown TV stars. So you're not getting the Big Bang Theory. You're not always, usually Modern Family did get snubbed this year. They usually do get nominated, but they're not always winning. So you're not getting these series that have been going on for 5, 6, 7 years continuously nominated. We saw it last year when people were shocked when Brooklyn Nine-Nine got nominated. So this year I think their Brooklyn Nine-Nine is Jane the Virgin. So it's exciting, but then there are some questionable things that they did do.
yeah, there are, and you're about to get into one of them. And so the final nominee for the Best Actress in a Comedy or Musical TV series is Lena Dunham. And Lena Dunham filling out that role means that people that a lot of us like Amy Poehler, didn't get nominated. And I know that Kate is not terribly thrilled.
It's just Listen, I know we're entering the seventh and final season of Parks and Rec, so it is a longer running show. Um, Lena Dunham, what happened with Girls when it first came out, I agreed that it should have been nominated, but I feel like the show necessarily hasn't really evolved. It's still following the same girls, sort of the same storylines, where I'm just kind of, I thought there was other options they could have used than putting girls as well as Lena Dunham up for a nomination as well. Even if it wasn't Amy Poehler, I'd rather have seen no girls, no Parks, no Lena, no Amy. I'd rather see someone else.
And I don't necessarily disagree with you. I do think Amy Poehler deserves a nomination for the final season of Parks and Rec. I really liked Parks and Rec. I'm not a big fan of girls, but those are personal choices, and I really don't know at that point. But speaking to your point about them always going for the new, now, next, the whole idea of, what's new, what's fresh, what's interesting. The Golden Globes have been doing a lot of nominations for web-based television and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of premium cable. So you have your Showtimes and your HBOs, Normal Heart and The Affair, and a bunch of stuff that's on premium cable. But you also have House of Cards got nominated again. Orange is the New Black got nominated for a couple of things. And then for the first time, Amazon is getting a nomination with Transparent.
Mm-hmm.
I think fans of Transparent are really excited about. And it's also one of those shows that is taking a subject matter that you don't see on television, on your actual TV, and putting it on the internet so that at least it has a place to talk about a subject.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really exciting, was seeing the show get that kind of recognition.
I
Uh,
also want to give, premium cable. We've seen a lot of Showtime and HBO, but this was actually, I believe, the first year that Stars has a series nominated with Best Miniseries, The Missing. It's
mhm.
not Outlander, but it will do. So Stars gets a thumbs up. They're starting to break into the HBO Showtime fame.
And there were in most of the categories that had in most of the categories that were like best miniseries or best anything really for TV.
Hmm.
Primarily the nominees are coming from premium cable and Netflix, but then you have like one standout from network television. So you had The Blacklist for best actor, and you had The Good Wife for actress, and a couple like every once in a while you'd get.
Was she nominated for actress, or was the show's nominated for best TV drama, The Good Wife, which is a little shocking to me. I know Viola Davis got nominated for How to Get Away with Murder, which was great.
She did, and a lot of people were wondering if it was going to be a Shonda off in Best Actress for Drama with Kerry Washington and Viola Davis. And going in, I was thinking it's probably going to be one or the other,
Yeah.
because that category tends to be saturated because of premium cable.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if network television. I mean, we've sort of seen a bit of a shift for network television doing bigger things, but they've also been relying a lot on franchise opportunities, things like the Marvel and DC TV shows to tie in with the movies, or for DC to not tie in with the movies. Um,
Hmm.
I'm wondering if this constant, almost barrage of you're not getting nominated is maybe going to make network television do a shift, either toward larger, more epic programming, maybe more miniseries programming. They're going to have to compete with the premium cable.
Yeah.
So it'll be a really interesting award season. The Golden Globes, there, like I said, there weren't a lot of giant surprises. There were a few small surprises, a lot of
I know one surprise that we didn't mention yet that is kind of shaking the internet is that Julia Roberts did not get nominated for The Normal Heart. And she got nominated for a SAG yesterday for her performance in the miniseries. Or was it? It was a movie.
it is
It
a
was,
movie.
it was an HBO film. But she is not nominated for a Golden Globe. So.
That is one of the big ones. And my personal other snub is Tatiana Maslany, who got nominated for a Golden Globe last year and a SAG Award this year, did not get nominated for a Golden Globe this year for Orphan Black. One day she will win.
Well, it's like Benedict Cumberbatch got nominated for Sherlock. Why can't you get nominated for Orphan Black?
Well, they're treating that last season of Sherlock like a miniseries, and that's a thing that's kind of annoying me, is that we've changed the definition of miniseries.
Just like freaking American Horror Story every year is a
It
miniseries.
started with American Horror Story because Ryan Murphy petitioned the Emmys to let
Yeah.
American Horror Story be nominated as a miniseries several years ago in the first season because the cast would remain the same, but the story would change every year. And they
Mhm.
allowed it. And now they have to allow a lot of other things that would not necessarily be considered miniseries. Things like Fargo, which is getting a season 2, or True Detective, which is getting a season 2, but they're changing their casts.
The
Those things
thing,
are being nominated as miniseries.
miniseries in America is actually probably a full series in the UK. So a miniseries here would be 8 episodes, but that's a full series in the UK, so it's kind of a little unfair.
It's I think it's extremely unfair. We gone are the days when we used to have really high quality miniseries caliber things that were 6 episodes or 5 episodes, or even there was a while 10-15 years ago, we had Taken, which was this really great science fiction epic in 10 episodes. But that was it. It came, it told its story, it was over. It's like a
Mhm.
really long movie.
Yeah.
um and we don't do that anymore. We treat some series who have, they tell one story and then they tell another story in the second season and another story in their third season. That doesn't make you a miniseries. That makes you a show whose story changes every season.
Yeah. I think the only network or channel that actually does a miniseries the appropriate way would be HBO.
True. Yeah, I think HBO does a lot of very good miniseries. I think premium cable is probably going to start taking that reign again. We're going to see a lot of shift to premium cable, especially now that they're going to start offering their streaming services or not for free, but for separate than their cable services. Premium cable, I think, is really knows what it's doing, um, and we'll see a lot more shift with them, and hopefully that shift will move into the regular network TV, or the network TV is going to see a lot of plummeting ratings.
Just gonna be reality shows.
Going to be reality shows all over the place because they're cheap and people will watch them.
Reality shows and competitions.
Oh yay! Anyway, that was the Golden Globe nominations. You can get a list of all of the nominations. We have a link below, and Kate and I will be doing our annual Battle of the Golden Statues, starting with the Golden Globes, which will air on January 11th,
Yes.
on NBC, followed by the SAG Awards on January 25th, and the Oscars on ABC. I don't know the date for that. It's February something.
February something.
February something, and we will be making all of our picks the week before each of the award shows, and then we'll battle it out. I've won the last 2 years running, so I anticipate keeping my
Whatever.
my reign going. So we hope to see you on the site, allgeeksome.net, and we hope to see you back here in the new year. See ya.